Hi guys, welcome to Chef Mooney, coming to you from Mooney's Kitchen with another great recipe. Now, leading up to Christmas, you want to start giving some gifts away for people. This green tomato chutney is superb. Guys, to make this tomato chutney, I'm going to use 5 large green tomatoes. I cut them in half. I'm going to show you how to clean them up in a second. We're going to use 3 medium-sized Granny Smith apples, a couple of cloves of garlic. I'm using some mustard seeds, 2 types, black and white. We're also going to use some ground ginger. Towards the back here, I've got 5 medium onions, which I've sliced in half. We're going to use a combination of 2 vinegars like we did with the mustard seed. I'm using dark malt vinegar, and I'm going to use some white wine vinegar. Also going to toss in some sultanas, and I'm using some pink rock salt as well. So let's get started. Start by cutting the tomato in half, and then what you want to do is you just want to cut that centerpiece out there, just like you would do in an apple. Okay, so that's how you prepare those, and I usually do the top part as well. Just remove that, pop that over there. Same thing applies to the apples. I'm just going to cut them in half, in quarters, and I just want to take that core out, just like that. Okay, so in no particular order, I'm going to start putting some of these into the processor. I'm not going to fill it up too much. A little bit of apple, a little bit of tomato, some onion. If the tomatoes are a little bit big, you can chop them up a bit smaller. Don't fill it up too much. I'm going to toss in my garlic, put the lid on. Now what we're going to do is pulse. You don't want a puree. You just want to pulse it so it's nice and small. Now on the last batch that I'm blitzing or pulsing, I'm going to add 1.5 cups of sultanas. I'm going to pulse these. You can just put them in whole if you want them whole, but I'm looking for a different finish here. So that's all our ingredients in there. Now I did forget to mention, and I'll show you this in a moment, we need to add some brown sugar, which I didn't have on my list of ingredients to start with. So apologies for that, but we are going to add it, so just make note of that. If you've got whole pieces like that, doesn't matter. They're going to break down, so don't be too fussy about it. You don't want a puree. Okay, now it's time to get it on the stove, and I'm going to add my vinegar. I'm going to add 2 cups of the malt vinegar, which is the dark vinegar. And I'm going to add 1/2 cup of white wine vinegar. So your liquid is in there now. We want to let this come up to a boil, and you'll start to see it cook down. Things are going to start to really smell great. We're going to add our mustard seeds now. I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of the white mustard seed. And I'm going to add a couple of teaspoons of the dark mustard seed. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of ground ginger. Going to use some of this pink sea salt. Going to add a couple of teaspoons of that. We can adjust it later if we need to. And sorry guys, I did forget to tell you, I did mention it, soft brown sugar. I'm using 1.5 cups of firmly packed soft brown sugar. And the reason why I'm using the soft brown sugar and the malt vinegar is because I want that dark consistency in my chutney. I don't want it to be a light color, although there's nothing wrong with a light color chutney. I think this is going to be absolutely delicious. Now if you want a bit of a kick to it, you can add some chili flakes, red chili, or you can add 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, which I'm going to do just to give it a bit of spice, a little bit of kick. This again is optional, you don't have to add it. So now once it's come up to the boil, you want to simmer this now for about 1.5 hours. And what we want is a reduction in the vinegar, and we want to make sure that it just reduces down and it doesn't, it's got that nice thick consistency. At the moment it's very runny. So as I said, it's going to take about an hour and a half, just on a gentle simmer. Okay guys, this has been slowly simmering now. It's starting to just evaporate that liquid. Probably a little bit more liquid needs to come off of this, and we want to try and get that sticky caramelized situation here. It's been cooking now for about an hour and a half. I think it's going to need another half an hour, and we'll see. We'll come back and have a look at it in about half an hour's time. Now it's taken about 2 hours of gentle simmering. I'm pretty happy with this consistency. I'm going to show you now how to sterilize your jars and get them ready so we can start bottling this. Okay, over the back I've got some boiling water. I'm just going to pop the jars into the boiling water. And seriously, they only really need about half a minute, if that. Give them a turn around. You can also do this in the oven. Preheat your oven to 180 degrees and just leave them in there for about 5 minutes. But I like to do them this way. It's the way I've been doing them for all my recipes when I make chutneys or jam. Onto some clean paper towel, you just want to turn them upside down like that so they drain. And we're going to throw in the lids as well. So sterilize all your equipment, make sure it's all good to go. Anything you're going to be using to bottle this, you want to make sure that you sterilize. Just clean the jars up with some paper towel. And you want to tap it down to get those air bubbles out. Pop the lid on. Make sure the lid's on nice and tight, and then just turn them upside down like that and let them sit there for a little while. I hope you give this recipe a try, and you can add it to your gift basket. You take care and have yourselves a great week. I'll see you on my next recipe. Take care.